Hi guys! Really hope you can hear me. Happy Vlogtober day 9. It's technically October 8th, so I'm like technically skipping a day, but I'm trying to get myself a day ahead because I've been staying up to like 11 p.m. to edit these vlogs, so I think it's gonna be easier to like film all day, edit some at night, edit some the next morning, and then post it, so I'll just be like a day behind, but not, if that makes sense. Okay, we're clear, we're good, we're caught up. So today's vlog is going to be a little different. I've talked about it a little bit on here. I try to keep it kind of separate. So I am a foster mom as of about a month and a half, 2 months ago. I'm 24. I have a full-time job. I'm married. Right now we have a 3-year-old kiddo. We've had him for a little over a month now. We love him to death. And I posted on TikTok today asking people to ask me questions so I could do a Q&A, because I post a lot about it on TikTok, but I don't get to like really sit down. I mean, I could, and I kind of do. Have just very candid, like long form, chatty videos about it. So here we go. Okay. First, I'll just give some backstory. So actually, I filmed a clip a long time ago before we like when we first started this process, before our home was open, explaining like why we're doing it, like giving a bunch of background. So I'm actually gonna insert that clip here, because I feel like it'll be cool to see like when it was fresh on my mind, like we were in the beginning of it. So I'm gonna insert that, and then I'll go into the questions. So here it is. I'm going to document the process of my husband and I becoming foster parents. I'm super excited. I am 24. Garrett will be 26 tomorrow, so we're maybe young-ish to be doing this, but I'm super excited. I have wanted to do it for years. When we were dating, I told him it was something that I wanted to do, and recently we just decided, like, if not now then when kind of thing. Like, it's now or never. It's a, you know, just a good time in our life to finally start it. We're doing it through a private faith-based foster agency called Connected Care here in Arkansas. One of Garrett's cousins told us about it, and it just seemed like it provided more support than organizations like The Call or just like Going Through the State or whatever. So we're doing that. So we filled out their like interest form on the website. One of their people called me yesterday and she sent me some videos to watch. So I had to watch like 30-40 minutes worth of introduction videos. They were super good to watch. I wrote down a bunch of questions after I'd watched those, and then had a phone call with, they're called like champions, and she kind of walked me through a couple things, asked her a couple like basic questions that I had. She was super sweet. Turns out we go to the same church, so she's like making an introduction with me and one of the pastors there, because one of the requirements to like be a foster parent through this agency is that you're like plugged into a church, and one of the like application requirements is to have a reference from a pastor that knows you at that church. And we're honestly like, we've been going to this church for a year-ish off and on, but we haven't been going as consistently as we should, but we really want to, obviously. So I think this will be a good way to like, this sounds bad, but like force us to get plugged in. And I think meeting with one of the pastors is going to be super fun. I don't know, we're freaking stoked. We're nervous. It's obviously going to be super hard. There's been a couple people in our lives who are not like discouraging, but can kind of tell like they don't think we're cut out for it, which was like kind of hurtful in the beginning. But then I looked at it as like, I am 24. I've never been a mom. Who are they to think that like I know what I'm doing, you know? And it came from a place of love, so it's fine. But that's kind of one of the first things I was going to talk about in this, of like, if people in your life are doubting you, like, just prove them wrong. You know, you don't have to, like, don't take it to heart. It's hopefully just coming from a place of love and worry, and a lot of people don't know a lot about foster care, so it can sound like a foreign thing. And if you tell someone like, oh, we're gonna be foster parents, you know, it just, to some people, sounds crazy. And like, I don't know, maybe those people think that you didn't think it through or whatever, which I think is some of like the people in my life's worries. I'm a very sporadic, impulsive person, but this is something I've thought about for years, researched, been around a lot of my life, and just feels, for lack of a better word, feels like a calling that I just have to do, you know, want to do, have to do, gonna do. So whether everyone in my life wants to doubt me or everyone's gonna be on board, either way, I'm doing it. And for the most part, everyone's super supportive and excited for us, and we have such a good community of friends and people who will just be there with us throughout the journey when it does get hard, because it will be hard. My little brother, I talked to him about it, and he was like, I don't think you should do that. And I was like, why? And he was like, you just get attached really quick and you're really emotional. I'm like, of course it's gonna be emotional, but I've always said, like, if you don't do it because, you know, you love too much or you think it's gonna be too hard on you or you're gonna care too much, then like all there is foster families who don't have good hearts, you know? So I'm like, I would rather have my heart be broken than, and like give a kid even a week of love and care and a safe home, than for like that kid to have to go into a home where like the foster parents couldn't really care less what happens, you know? So it's just kind of worth putting your heart on the line for also, again, lack of better words. I don't want to sound so cheesy, but it's true. Like, it's gonna break my heart every time a kid leaves my house, or every time I have to hear an awful story of like neglect or abuse or whatever that kid was going through. I know that that's gonna break my heart, but it's 10 times more heartbreaking like what these kids are having to go through every day. And if I can be a tiny little glimpse of love in that kid's life, then like I can deal with some pain, you know? It's like, fine. Anyways, get all that cheesy stuff out of the way. Anyways, she said that someone will be reaching out hopefully later this week to set up our initial like home consultation or home meeting or something, where someone will come in and talk to us about more of like the deep nitty-gritty logistical questions, and hopefully kind of like walk through our home and see what all we have to do. We have our bedroom and then 2 guest rooms back there. We're gonna keep one as a guest room in case like I need my mom to come stay and help, or a friend, you know, and like if in the future we decide that we want to take teenagers, like they can stay in there. And then our 3rd bedroom we're going to turn into a room for little kids. So the room we're setting up, the 3rd one, we're going to do a twin bed and then a crib. Okay, fast forward 3 months from then, probably. I don't know exactly when it was. I'm pretty sure it was like 3 months ago, maybe 4 months. I think that was in May, so like 5 months ago is maybe, I think, when that video was. That's crazy. I'm just gonna go down the list. The order may not make sense, but did the home study process stress you out? How in depth do they pick apart your house? I'm gonna start all this with saying that we went through a private agency called Connected Care in Arkansas, and every question that I answer is gonna be completely based off personal experience. This could be different for state by state, person by person, by agency. I don't know, I'm just gonna speak from my experience, of course. So I will say, number one, if you're thinking about doing foster care, I would go through a private agency, but because I think it made our journey into all this like so much easier and smoother, because with this private agency we have our own caseworker, which usually is like not the case, I think, if you just like go through the state. And so keep that in mind as I'm like answering these. So did the home study process stress you out? How in depth did they pick your house apart? It didn't really stress me out. We had like 3 different visits with him over the course of the summer, and they each lasted around 3 hours. He asked a lot of really in-depth questions about us and our past and our childhood, the way we were raised, our relationship, our marriage, our personalities, our trauma. That was probably like the most in-depth part, more than like the house, honestly. And it didn't stress me out because I'm like kind of an open book and like don't care to talk about things, but if you're not used to talking about that kind of stuff, that part may be a little bit intense, but they just like really need to know you're a good person, you know. The house part though wasn't super bad. It's not like he was like looking in every corner. He just walked through everything, like made notes of different safety features that we need to have. Like we had to have a locked closet, we had to have a fire extinguisher, we had to have all of our knives and medicines locked up, any like harsh chemicals, like cleaning stuff. We have outlet covers. I don't know if that was a requirement, but we do have them. We weren't required to like lock our cabinets or drawers or anything in the kitchen, which I was kind of thankful about. Yeah, so no, it wasn't stressful when like they didn't pick our house apart like super in depth. He just like checked all the boxes off and that was it. What was one of the things that was needed to become certified that you didn't expect? Something really random was we had to have like a medical exam, like a physical, which like I get it, but like wasn't expecting that. The like super in-depth therapy sessions was a little unexpected, and I understand that part. Of course, I just didn't realize how deep we were gonna go. Like I had to dive into some of my like sexual trauma and childhood trauma. It was very in-depth, but I understood why they did it. Other than that, I like had researched a lot, and so I was pretty much mostly for the majority of the part like prepared for everything that we went through. How long did it take for your home to become open once the final home study was completed? and everything was submitted to the state. This part took less than a day, I think. We finished the home study, we finished like the visits, the interviews, and then signed off on it, and I think that same day we were open. I think. It's crazy now. I think I have videos on it somewhere in my TikTok talking about like each step. That part was super quick. Then the part between like being open and getting our first call, it was only 2 or 3 weeks, but that felt like the longest part. As a foster family, we built a community of around 6 families we can count on for everything. Have you guys started building a team of families you can trust and enjoy in the same phase of life as yourself? No, we haven't. We have a really good community of people around us, like friends and family. We have a good village. And so we really focused on like strengthening that before we went into this, and I think that it's been like super valuable. But I definitely see the value in building a community of foster parents, especially like young foster parents, first time. I feel like I'm definitely craving that a little bit because as loving and supportive and kind and understanding as our friends are, they're not going through the same things as us, you know, like it's very foreign to them, I guess. And even like we have one of our best friends grew up in foster care, and we have best friends who their parents were foster parents, and so they understand it more, but they're also all boys, so I'm not gonna like pour my heart out to them, you know. So yeah, I think that we'll definitely soon try and like build a community of like foster families. There's one couple who actually did respite for our little guy recently, and I could see us being friends because they're really sweet and cool, but also like making friends in your 20s can be like scary and intimidating. But yeah, I definitely want to do that. What are some things a new foster mom could put on an What are some things a new foster could put on an Amazon wish list? I'm assuming that means foster parents. I mean, we put so many things on ours, and ours was almost completely bought up. Like, I'm gonna say, other than like the basic, like obvious things, something that we didn't get that we had to get like night of, or that I sent a friend to get, was a baby monitor, which maybe that's like a duh thing to most people, but it wasn't for us. And it's because I think we just like didn't expect to get a little one so soon, because people say like you're not gonna get a little one, you know. I think a lot of kids in care could benefit from like fidget toys. We got this huge thing of fidget toys that I think are gonna be useful when we get older kids in the future. Just making sure you have enough extra like hygiene things laying around just in case. Like for us, our first placement was like an emergency one night stay thing. It was a 14-year-old boy, and between us getting the call and getting the kid, it was like maybe 2 or 3 hours. And so we had time to go to the store and get stuff, but there was still things that I'm like, if he would have been here longer than a night, we would need. I'd say have some tote bags or backpacks on hand. That's something that I heard a million times and was just like, obviously yes, I will send them with a bag, but I think I didn't think of like, well, if they're only here for one night, you may not have time to go get a bag. And so I just gave him one of my tote bags that was still in good condition, but definitely have like extra bags on hand just in case. Little things like kids sunscreen, little like kids bug spray, plenty of wipies. I'm trying to think of like things you wouldn't think about. I mean, obviously like I was very intentional about like making sure the room was very cozy and inviting and decorated, which is kind of hard because you have to keep it like gender neutral and try to keep it like not too kiddish but not too mature. But I made sure like there was things on the walls, the bedding was cute. It's not necessary, but I think like I didn't want any kid to have to come into like an empty sterile room, you know. Yeah, maybe I'll think of more things, but crap, my camera's about to die. Is daycare something that you have to set up, or is it arranged? In our experience, he was already in a daycare when we got him, and he actually switched like the next day that we got him, but we didn't have to set any of that up. I think maybe you do if they're moving like too far away from their other place, but in our case, like I know that our agency, like our caseworker, would help us do that. Would you be open to taking multiple kids or siblings, or only one? We're open for 2. I would definitely take siblings. I think siblings should be together. That's one of the biggest reasons we got into foster care, is because I actually have siblings who were adopted out of foster care, and it was kind of a situation where like if we didn't take them, they were going to be split up. And so I definitely have a heart for siblings, and I'm loving the one-on-one time we're getting with our little guy, but I'm excited to have 2 one day. And then last one, because my camera's gonna die and this is really long. Did you feel intimidated being younger foster parents without kids of your own? I assume that not many 24-year-olds go into foster care. Honestly, no, because it's something that I wanted to do for so long. That's one of the reasons that we've said, like, we were a little bit nervous about teenagers in the beginning, because like I'm not that much older than a teenager, but I think even then it would be okay. But no, I was really involved in like raising my siblings. I've babysat, I was a nanny. My husband's great with kids, has nieces and nephews, like I knew he'd be great. So not really. I think that it's more scary when dealing with like attorneys and court cases and caseworkers and bio parents. Like that is a little more intimidating than the actual like getting a kid in our home and parenting them part. But no, I think you just dive in, you just do it. You know, you figure it out. Everybody, even if I was 34 versus 24, it's still gonna be a little bit scary and you're still gonna have to figure things out. So I think people sometimes just limit themselves because they think they're too young for something, you know? When it's like, some kids might need early 20-year-olds as foster parents, you know? I don't know. Anyways, that's all. My camera, I don't know how it's not dead yet, but thanks for listening. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment them. If you're like, oh, I want to hear so much more, go follow my TikTok, because I post every single day, multiple times a day, because I never run out of things to say about foster care. It's my favorite thing to talk about, especially because like things are changing all the time. So yeah, happy Vlogtober day 9 if you're still here. Thanks for watching. That's all.